At 5 a.m. on a small island in the south of Japan, a woman kneels down in her garden. She is 97 years old. She isn't exercising. She isn't praying. She's pulling weeds the way she has every morning for 80 years. Her hands are steady. Her back is straight. She's humming. She doesn't know it, but doctors cross the world to understand her. Not her, exactly. People like her. Because on this island, reaching 100 isn't a miracle. It's almost ordinary. They have more people over 100 here than almost anywhere on Earth. Scientists even gave places like it a name, the blue zones, the rare pockets of the planet where people most reliably live past 100. And Okinawa is one of the most studied of them all, a place where a 100th birthday barely turns a head. When the researchers arrived, they were sure they knew what they'd find. It had to be the food, the fish, the green tea, the seaweed. They measured all of it. And yes, the diet mattered. But it was not the whole answer, because something didn't add up. When these islanders moved abroad and kept eating the same food, they began dying younger, like everyone else. The magic didn't travel with the recipes. So it wasn't only what was on their plates, it was something in the way they lived, something invisible. You can't buy it, swallow it, or download it. It has no price tag and no shortcut, and once you see it, it's almost embarrassing how obvious it was all along. 7 quiet habits, woven so deep the people living them can't even name them. None are about willpower, none cost money, and by the end, you'll see that most of what you were told about aging is backwards. We were taught that growing old means slowing down, stepping back, holding on. They live as if the opposite were true. And they didn't choose it on purpose. They simply inherited a way of living that the rest of us quietly threw away. I quote, "I'll show you all 7. Stay until number 6. It's the one modern life has quietly stolen from you, and it may be the most powerful of them all. The 7th will change how you see your own time on Earth. A warning, these will feel too simple. That feeling, this is too easy to matter, is exactly why you don't do them yet. Let's begin. Because the first habit is the reason all the others exist. It's the reason these people wake up at all. Habit 1. They have a reason to wake up. In Japanese, there's a word for it, Ikigai. Iki, life, gai, worth, your life's worth, the reason you open your eyes. Not a job, not a goal you reach, and then you're done. Something smaller and far more durable. For the woman in the garden, it's the vegetables her neighbors wait for. For a fisherman down the coast, it's the tide. For an old craftsman, it's a bowl still not perfect after 60 years. Ask an Okinawan elder what their ikigai is, and they won't hesitate. They can name it in a single breath. Most of us ask the same question, go quiet. Not because we have nothing, but because no one ever taught us that a reason to rise is something you're meant to keep and protect and never let dissolve. Now think about how we do it in the West. We split life into 2 halves. First you work hard for decades, counting down, then you stop, all at once. We call it retirement and treat it like a prize. But watch a man the year after he retires. The structure vanishes. The reason to get up vanishes. And very often, so does his health. The data is quiet and brutal. In the years right after retirement, the risk of decline climbs, as if the body, given nothing left to do, simply agrees to wind down. A man who was the center of everything on Friday can be invisible by Monday, and the body hears that silence. Here, quote the strange part. On that island, there is no real word for retirement. None. The idea of being finished, of being useless, simply doesn't exist there the way it does for us. A 90-year-old is not a retired person. She's a gardener, a teacher, a great-grandmother with a role to play. She is still needed, and being needed is a kind of oxygen. This is the shift. Purpose is not a luxury you earn after the real work is done. Purpose is the thing that keeps the engine running. Take away the reason to get up, and the body quietly agrees there's no reason to keep going. You don't need a grand mission. You don't need to find your passion or change the world. You need one small thing that would not happen today if you didn't get up. A plant that needs water, a person who needs your call, a craft that isn't finished. That's Ikigai. And it's the foundation every other habit is built on. A reason to live comes first. What you do with your body comes second. And that begins at the table, with one sentence before every meal. Habit 2. They stop eating before they're full. Before many meals, older Okinawans say a small phrase to themselves. Hara, Hachi, bu. It means eat until you are 8 parts out of 10 full, 80%. Then the chopsticks go down, not stuffed, not I couldn't eat another bite, just no longer hungry. And you stop there. It sounds too small to matter. It isn't. Here's why it works. Pure biology. Your stomach is full before your brain knows it. The signal that says enough takes about 20 minutes to travel from your gut to your head. So if you eat until you feel full, you have already eaten too much. Every single time. Hara Hachi Bu is simply a way of eating for the person you'll be in 20 minutes, not the one who is hungry right now. The West does the opposite and trains it into children. Clean your plate, finish your food, get your money's worth. Portions grew, plates grew, and we were taught to empty them. Hara Hachi Bu is a break, pressed gently, 3 times a day, for a lifetime. Researchers who studied the old Okinawans found they ate until satisfied, not stuffed, and quietly took in fewer calories than we do, without ever counting a single one. And they aren't suffering. There is no diet here, no app, no war with food. Just a habit of stopping a little early, on purpose, because eating to 80% isn't really about eating less. It's about listening, catching the quiet signal instead of the loud one. The shift is this. Fullness is not the goal of a meal. Fullness is the sign you've already gone too far. Try it once tonight. Serve yourself a little less than you want. Eat slowly. Put the fork down between bites. Stop while you could still technically eat more. Then wait 10 minutes. You'll be surprised you were never actually hungry. You were just trained. That small, deliberate enough protects them for decades. Not through hunger, through attention. But food is only half the story of the body. Because the next habit isn't about what they put into themselves at all. It's about how they move. And it looks nothing like exercise. Habit 3. They never exercise. They just never stop moving. There is no word here for workout. No gym on the corner. No treadmill in the spare room. And yet these are some of the most physically capable old people on the planet. At 90, they kneel and rise and kneel again dozens of times a day. They sit on the floor to eat, and then they stand back up, without using their hands. Try that right now. Stand up from the floor without a hand, a knee, or a wall. For many of us, by 50, it's already hard. For them, at 90, it's nothing. Here, quote, what the West got wrong about movement. We invented a strange idea that you sit still for 23 hours, then exercise for 1. We drive to a building to lift heavy objects, then drive home and sit back down. Movement became an event, something you schedule, dread, and skip, and the sitting in between is quietly doing the damage. Some doctors now call it a slow illness of its own. On the island, movement was never separated from life in the first place. You don't go to the garden as a workout. You go because the vegetables need you. You don't take a walk for your heart. You walk because that's how you reach your friend's house. You kneel to tend the fire, to greet a guest, to eat. Many even begin the morning together with Ragyo Taiso, a few minutes of gentle stretching played over the radio, done side by side for a lifetime. 1,000 tiny movements woven through an ordinary day. Scientists have a clumsy name for it now, non-exercise activity. And the quiet truth is that constant gentle motion protects the body far more than an occasional hard session on top of a still life. It keeps the joints oiled, the legs strong, the balance sharp. And balance in old age is everything. Because for the elderly, a fall is often the beginning of the end. Strong legs and steady balance aren't vanity. They are independence. They are life. The goal was never to look strong. It was to stay able, to rise, to reach, to carry your own life without asking for help. The shift is simple, and it costs nothing. Stop thinking about exercise. Start thinking about motion. Sit on the floor sometimes, take the stairs, walk to the thing instead of driving, get up, cross the room, crouch down, reach up, on purpose, all day long. Your body is not a machine you service once a week. It's a garden. It needs tending every single day. So build the motion back in. Not harder, just more often. The strongest 90-year-olds never trained for it. They simply lived in a way that kept them moving. And one of the places they move most is a small patch of earth, a garden that feeds them, body and soul. And speaking of that garden, that's where the fourth habit quietly grows. Habit 4. They eat with the seasons, and most of it grows outside their door. There's a word for it, Shun. The peak moment when a food is exactly in its season. A tomato in deep summer. A root vegetable pulled from cold winter soil. To eat by Shun is to eat food at the height of its life, freshest, cheapest, and most alive. Now look at how the West eats. We eat the same things in January that we eat in July. Strawberries flown across the world. Bread that lasts a month. Meals designed in a factory to never change. Convenient, yes, but also flat, distant, and quietly dead. On the island, so much of the plate comes from a few steps away. A small garden behind the house, sweet potatoes, bitter greens, herbs, soy. For generations, the humble purple sweet potato, not rice, not meat, was the very heart of the Okinawan plate. Not a farm, not a hobby, just a normal, ordinary patch of earth that feeds the family. And notice what that one habit secretly bundles together. To eat from your garden, you have to move, bending, planting, weeding, carrying. You get sunlight on your skin and air in your lungs. You get food with nothing sprayed on it and nothing added to it. You get a reason to go outside every single morning, and you get, quietly, another Ikigai, one more small, living thing that depends on you. One humble garden doing the work of a gym, a pharmacy, and a therapist all at once. And they eat a rainbow of small dishes, not one giant plate. A little rice, a little fish, many small bowls of vegetables, pickles, and soy. Variety, in small amounts, instead of a mountain of one heavy thing. Here is the shift, and it isn't a diet. Don't obsess over the perfect superfood. Just eat things that were recently alive, close to when and where they grew. Buy what's in season. It's cheaper, it tastes better, and your body knows what to do with it. If you can, grow one single thing yourself. Herbs on a windowsill will do. Because food that comes from near you connects you to something modern life cut away. The ground, the seasons, and the simple rhythm of tending something and then eating it. They don't diet. They belong to the year. Spring greens, summer fruit, autumn roots, winter broth. The plate changes as the world changes, and nothing on it had to travel very far to reach them. That closeness is its own kind of medicine. Food, movement, sunlight, purpose, all from one small garden. The Western plate asks, what do I feel like today? Theirs asks, what is the earth offering right now? One chases a craving, the other follows the season. But food and movement only carry the body through the day. The next habit is about how they end it, and it happens in hot water. Habit 5. Every night, they sink into hot water. Not a quick shower, not 2 rushed minutes to get clean. A deep, hot bath, the Ofuro, soaked in almost up to the shoulders at the end of the day. In the West, the shower is a pit stop. Fast, functional, efficient. Wash and go. We treat washing as one more task to check off before collapsing into bed, still buzzing, the phone still glowing in the dark. In Japan, the evening bath is something else entirely. It is a border. On one side of that water is the day, the noise, the work, the worry. On the other side is the night. Rest, family, sleep. You don't just wash the body. You set the whole day down, and the body listens. When you soak in hot water, your core warms, And then, as you cool afterward, your temperature drops. That gentle fall is one of the strongest signals your brain has for deep, real sleep. So the bath doesn't just relax you. It tunes the machinery that repairs you overnight. And this isn't only folklore. A large study that followed thousands of Japanese adults for years found that those who took a hot bath nearly every day had noticeably healthier hearts than those who rarely did. Warm water, slower breath, a calmer nervous system, night after night for decades. It may be the cheapest medicine on earth. A tap, some hot water, and the willingness to stop for 20 minutes. And it is a ritual, not a chore. The same water, the same quiet, the same moment to let the shoulders finally drop. The body comes to know, when I enter this water, the day is over. I am allowed to rest now. The shift doesn't require a Japanese bathhouse. It requires a border between your day and your night. A few minutes in warm water, no phone, no screen lighting up your face. Let your body cool afterward and let sleep come the way it's supposed to. Because rest isn't what's left over when the day runs out. For them, rest is built on purpose every single night. A warm room, a quiet mind, a body finally told it's safe to let go. This is how the day is closed, not with a crash, but with a soft landing, and a well-closed day becomes a well-lived year, and a well-lived year becomes a long, unhurried life. So far, every habit has been about you, your purpose, your plate, your body, your rest. But the most powerful habit of all isn't about you alone. It's about who is around you. And it may be the one modern life has stolen most completely, the one I told you to stay for. Habit 6. Every Tuesday in a small Okinawan town, 5 women meet for tea. They are 87, 90, 91, 94, and 102. They have met like this, the same 5 Tao, for nearly 90 years. They were placed together as small children, and they simply never stopped. They have buried husbands together, raised each other's grandchildren, survived a war and hunger and time itself. And every week they still show up, pour the tea, and laugh like schoolgirls. This little circle has a name. It's called a Moai. Habit 6 is this: they are never, ever alone. A Moai is a group of friends bound together for life. It began centuries ago as a practical thing, villagers pooling their money to help each other through hard times. But it slowly became something far deeper, a promise to share not just money, but a whole life. In old Okinawa, when you were born, you were placed into one. A handful of people who promised, without ever saying it out loud, to walk the entire journey with you. Through every harvest and every funeral, through money troubles, sickness, and joy. Your Moai is your safety net, your second family, your reason to leave the house. If you don't show up for tea, someone comes looking. If you fall ill, the soup arrives before you even ask. Now think honestly about how we age in the West. We move away for work. We scatter across cities. We trade neighbors for notifications. Friendships fade into names on a screen we always mean to call and never do. And slowly, quietly, a person ends up alone. We have built the most connected world in history. And somehow the loneliest here is the part we don't want to hear. Loneliness is not just sad, it is dangerous. Researchers now say chronic loneliness harms the body about as much as smoking a pack of cigarettes a day. It raises stress, wrecks sleep, and wears the heart down year after year. A person with no one to call is quietly in danger. And a person wrapped in a lifelong circle of care is protected in a way no medicine can match. Think about that. Not a supplement, not a treatment. People, the oldest medicine there is. This is why the 6th habit may be the most powerful of them all. Because you can eat perfectly, move daily, sleep deeply, and still fade fast if no one is expecting you tomorrow. The islanders don't grow old and lonely because growing old alone was never an option. You always belong to someone. Someone always belonged to you. And here's the beautiful part. Belonging isn't a feeling that happens to you. It's a habit you build by showing up again and again, for the same people. This is the shift, and it might be the most important one in this whole video. Do not let your circle dissolve. Call the friend you keep meaning to call. Sit at the table a little longer. Be the one who starts the group, who keeps the standing date, who refuses to drift. You don't need 100 friends. You need a few who would truly notice if you were gone. Build your Moai now, long before you need it. Because in the end, the people who live longest are rarely the ones who took care of only themselves. They're the ones who were never carrying it alone. The tea is still warm. The laughter is still real. 90 years, and they never once let go of each other. That is not luck. That is a habit, kept for a lifetime. You can copy their food and their movement in a week. This one takes years, which is exactly why you must begin it long before you think you need it. And it leads to the 7th and final habit, the quiet one beneath all the others. Habit 7. They make peace with time. This is the quietest habit, and the deepest. In the West, we are at war with aging. We fight it, hide it, fear it. We treat every wrinkle as a defeat and every birthday as a small alarm. We spend fortunes trying to look like we are not doing the one thing every living thing does, getting older and moving toward the end. And that war has a cost. It runs in the background of every single day, a low hum of dread. The Japanese hold something gentler. There's a phrase, mono no aware, a tender awareness that everything passes, and a soft, quiet beauty found in exactly that. They see it in the cherry blossom. It blooms for barely a week, then falls. And instead of mourning how short it is, they gather beneath it and celebrate, because the blossom is precious precisely because it does not last. If it lasted forever, no one would even look up. Their quote, "S another image they live by. When a treasured bowl breaks, they don't hide the cracks, and they don't throw it away. They mend it with gold, a craft called kintsugi. So the broken lines shine and glow, and the bowl becomes more beautiful for having been broken. A human life is the same. The scars, the losses, the years gathering on your face, they are not damage to cover up. They are the gold. They turn that same gaze onto old age itself. Growing old is not a failure to stay young. It is the late golden part of the same beautiful temporary thing. And so they don't spend their last decades fighting the mirror. They spend them living. There is one more quiet practice here, gratitude counted at the end of each day. What did I receive today? Who was kind to me? What small thing was good? Not a grand ceremony, just a soft turning of the mind toward what was given. And a mind tilted toward gratitude simply doesn't have as much room left for dread. You cannot be bitter and grateful in the same breath. They simply practiced the second one until it crowded out the first. This is the deepest shift of all. When you stop fighting time, something strange happens. The fear lets go of you. The clenched fist opens, and your hands are finally free to actually live. They are not calm because their lives were easy. They lived through war, loss, and hardship like anyone. They are calm because they stopped demanding that life be permanent. They accepted the blossom. And that acceptance, more than any food or any exercise, is why they never feel old. They are not clinging to a shore that is slipping away. They are simply in the river, floating, awake, grateful, all the way to the sea. They are not younger than us. They are only less afraid. And it shows in the face, in the shoulders, in the way they move through a room. So those are the 7. But there is one thread running underneath all of them. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. Let S step back and look at all 7 together. A reason to wake up, eating to 80%, moving all day long, food from the earth and the season, a ritual of deep rest, a lifelong circle of people, and peace with time itself. 7 habits. Now ask the question the researchers finally asked. What do they all share? Look closely, and the answer is almost shocking in how simple it is. Not one of them is about trying to live longer. Not one. No one on that island is chasing 100. No one is counting calories to buy extra years. No one is fighting death at all. They are simply living, fully, slowly, and together. And the long life is not the goal, it is the side effect. Read that again because it changes everything. The goal was never the years. The years were just what a full life quietly left behind. Here is the thread beneath all 7. In the West, we treat longevity like a war against death. We diet against it. We exercise against it. We fear it under every passing year. We try to add years to our life. They quietly add life to their years, and the years follow on their own. We were told that aging is something that happens to you, a slow defeat you brace for. They live as if aging is just continuing to have a reason, to move, to eat well, to rest, to belong, to be grateful. That woman in the garden at 5 a.m. is not trying not to die. She is pulling weeds because her neighbors are waiting, because her hands still work, and because the morning is beautiful. The 100 years are just what happens when you live like that, day after ordinary day. Not a project, not a plan, just a life, lived well enough that it forgets to end. And here's the good news, the part that matters for you. You do not need to be born on an island. You don't need money or a doctor or a single thing you don't already have. You can start tonight with one habit. Leave a little food on the plate, sit on the floor, step into warm water, call the friend, plant the herb. Find the one small reason to get up tomorrow. Pick just one, the one that quietly tugged at you while you watched, because you were never really behind. No one told you the truth, that a long life was never built out of effort and fear. It was built out of purpose and stillness and other people and peace. Things that were always within your reach, just never sold to you because no one gets rich when you already have enough. So tell me, down in the comments, which of the 7 are you starting with tonight? Just the number 1 to 7. I read every single one. And if this reached something in you, send it to one person you want beside you at 100. Then go and do your one small thing. Because the clock was never the point. The life was.